Hey, it is Glory with Disney Adventure Hub, and we are starting off week 11 of our road to be able to walk Disneyland and my physical therapy journey. So I hope you'll continue to join me for my adventures in physical health and maybe use it as some inspiration or even just some time to do some things for yourself, for your body, to make sure it's as healthy as possible to do the things that you want to do, maybe walking Disneyland. So come join me for my next group fitness class and I'll show you what I'm up to in there. Well, that was my last class that you haven't seen, called Upbeat Barre. So now you've seen all 4 of the group fitness classes that I take. I don't do all of them every week. So the one I just did, Upbeat Barre, and the core class, the 30-minute class, I alternate those in a week because they fall Monday and Tuesday and they're just too much for my body to do 2 days in a row. So the high fitness cardio class and the BodyBalance yoga fusion class, I try and do those every week. Things come up, we don't always get there, but that's the plan. And then typically I've been doing silks every other week. That class at my house, I was doing it every week for an hour, but with only one set of fabrics, it's not quite enough time for everybody to actually do things with 4 people in there. So we started doing 2 hours every other week, and then we had 2 months off, and then Saturday, and then I hurt my hip flexor. So I could really tell that in this class, and maybe you could see I had to drop the band from my legs because it was just too much on the hip flexor, and those side hip muscles are what's weak on me, and that's what we work on in PT. And I think why I've been able to walk Disneyland without having to be in a wheelchair the past 2 times, because those muscles have gotten strong enough to help support the pelvis and the SI joints. But they are still weak compared to what they should be in a normal body. And it's funny that every body is created differently. We generally have the same parts, right? But some of us, our heart doesn't work as well as it could, and others of us, some of our muscles don't, and other of us have chemicals that aren't quite right. And with me, it's the muscles in my hips and pelvis just do not work effectively enough to support the activities that I want to do, like walking. So that's why I do those strength classes, to help with those muscles, and they really have been helpful. But now I have to step back a little bit and let that whatever I did on Saturday heal. So I tried to really take some options there, especially at the end. In the very last track, when we were laying on our back and doing those supposed scissor kicks, well, I already mentioned that scissor kicks are bad for the hip flexor, so I would not do them. So I did the bent knee thing, and that felt better. So those are the classes, those are the things. We're starting week 11 of physical therapy in preparation for my Disney trip, which I can now say is less than 2 weeks away. It is not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And having a little setback it's kind of frustrating. I wouldn't say I'm disheartened, but I'm disappointed. But I think it's minor enough that next week I'm going to not do any strength training, any classes. I'm going to substitute in walking. And I think that will be a good choice to keep me from injuring anything, but also to make sure I increase my endurance for walking. So that is the plan. I've got 2 more physical therapies, one this week and one next week, and hopefully we'll work out any other small minor bugs and kinks for the whole walking thing, and I will be able to do pretty well with just walking and taking breaks and not pushing myself too hard. And you know what? If I do and it's just too painful, then I will get the electric wheelchair and have a good time anyway. And that is actually a whole nother video I'm thinking about doing, is what can you do in the parks if you're in a wheelchair or an ECV, electric conveyance vehicle, the one you drive yourself. We'll see if I have time to do that. But that's where we are, starting week 11 with Upbeat Barre, and heading in to do some walking tomorrow on the Self-propelled treadmill, because they do have one at this gym. So I'll do that tomorrow, and I'll see you then. Okay, here we are on Tuesday. It is normally a day off for me since I did class yesterday, and so we're going to go try out the treadmill since I'm planning on walking on my off days this week. So this is the self-propelled treadmill. The one that they have at the gym here is actually a curved one. So I watched some videos on YouTube last night about those, because they take a little getting used to. Like to go, you step on the higher part toward the front, and to slow down, you step on the higher part toward the back. But the cool thing is you can accelerate or decelerate at your own pace, just like you would when you're normally walking, instead of having to use controls and things to do that. So definitely more benefits versus the belted motorized treadmill. So I have no idea if I'll be able to put this in a discrete place so I can video just like my feet or something and not anybody else, but I will do my best to get some sort of footage in there, and then I'll report back afterward. that was definitely interesting. I would walk toward the front to be able to see my phone closer because there was a little holder for the phone. And when I would move closer to that and further toward the front, it would make me go faster. And then I'd have to back up so I could slow down, and then I couldn't see my phone as well. So it was definitely interesting to get used to, and I definitely also didn't feel as stable as walking on a track. Like I could do stuff on my phone like I did on the track this week. But today I definitely didn't want to hold on to my phone, so I was happy there was that little holder there for it. And I would try and keep my hands by my side so I could, you know, work on holding up my own arms, as we've talked about before. But I would grab the handrails if I felt unsteady or was looking at my screen and wandering around on the treadmill. So I tried to get some footage without getting other people in it. I'm not sure how well it showed the curve of the treadmill, but you can get an idea. And it definitely is a good alternative to walking on a motorized treadmill because I could use my own muscles instead of just following along with what the motorized treadmill did. So a good option if you don't want to be walking outside for whatever and you have access to a gym with a non-motorized self-propelled treadmill. Hey everybody, today is Wednesday and I have my physical therapy appointment today, and we tried not to overtax the hip, and it was fine. We did some hip flexor stretches, and we did some like 90, so your legs are each in 90 degrees. Well, let me show you. Like this. Ooh, something like that. And you lean down and press up, and then you rotate your legs to the other side and lean down and press up. Anyway, doesn't really matter. But we also did some dry needling on my not SI joint low back, but my actual low back, and that was really interesting. I did take some video of that for a few seconds, which I will put here, but let me give you an advance warning, trigger warning. If needles bother you or anything like that, you might want to just skip ahead a little bit. But that was interesting because they attached electrical stimulation to them, sort of like the e-stim pads that they always do on my hip when I first get there. But they have little clamps, and they clamp onto the needles, and they do a different kind of stimulation. Instead of just a continuous bzzz kind of feeling, it's more of a targeted pulse. Like, have you ever had an eye twitch or a random muscle twitch? That's exactly what it felt like. So it didn't hurt, it was just an odd sensation, but it really did loosen up the low back. So I think next week, which is the week before we leave, we leave the end of next week, I'm gonna have them do up higher in the back because it's always tight. So we're adding some additional areas, but left hip still recovering from, all the things that have happened. And I remembered that in the past, people I know have used like a CBD balm, and I have some. I don't know if you can read this. I'm not sure which way the camera's facing, but I thought I would try it and just see if it would relieve those cramps that I get just from standing. So I have a standing desk, and I've been working at it, and just randomly you get the cramps that make your mouth go open like that's what's been happening. So I put some of the balm on, hoping that would help. And unfortunately, it's not helping for this. I'm sure it helps for other things, but not for that. So a little bummed about that. But I thought, well, now I will get out my red light pad. And I know I've mentioned it, but I don't remember if I've showed it to you before. So this is the one that I use. It's just, whoopsie, flexible. And these each are little lights. And what this particular one does is it has two frequencies of red or near infrared light. So it has 660 nanometers, I believe is the term, and 850. 660, or the lower the number, the less it penetrates the skin. So people tend to use the lower number ones, like 660 or thereabouts, for surface skin things, and like maybe neurological stuff that's just below the skin. The bigger numbers, 850, is used to get deeper. Now, if we haven't talked a lot about red light, and again, I'm not a scientist, I know what I hear and what makes sense and what the science says, but again, Andrew Huberman is a podcast that I listen to, and he has episodes on the benefits of light and red light on the skin and the eyes and so forth. So I have this pad, and I've used it from this company for, I don't know, over a year, 2 years, something like that. And so I do find it to be helpful in that it helps relax and I assume heal. Not really sure how to tell that, but things tend to feel better after I've used it for a while. And I will put it on for hours, so there isn't a risk of having too much, like you're out in the sun and you're going to get burned. So this, I just ordered a new one, so I can be using it before the trip, because the other one that I have, the cord connection on the back, because I'm always stuffing it down my pants or my shirt or somewhere awkward, that's the weakest link, is where that cord connection is. So this particular one comes with an elastic Velcro, so you can strap it around a knee or an elbow or something, and I never used that part. So one of the straps it came with, I literally cut off the two Velcro ends, and I'm Velcroing this cord into place so it is more static when I'm moving it in and out of my clothes and whatnot. And hopefully that will make it last longer. But the other thing about this one is I've had 3 pads from them, the same one, and they've all been the same size. But this one is bigger. It has the same number of lights though, they're just spread out more. But I like the fact that I can wrap it all the way from my hip flexor back around to the SI joint, and get more of my low back. It's a little awkward to put around my neck, so I will put this around my neck for my whole morning routine, if you will. And it's like I have a giant collar on, so it's a little weird. But it is nice for covering the other parts. So I do use that a lot, and I'm going to put it back on this hip and keep reaping the benefits, whatever those may entail, from this red light pad. And I'll show you the little clicker in case you're interested. You turn it on here and it will, you can see it lit up down here. It will say all for both frequencies, or you can change it. So 660 is the one that is red light, so you can see it. The 850 is the near infrared, so it doesn't show up as much. So if I'm walking around somewhere and I don't want to distract people, I will turn it to the 850 so it's not glaring red like when I have it behind my neck and I'm walking around somewhere. And I used that one only for the longest time, and I thought, man, might as well use them both. And interestingly, the 660 is the one that provides more heat. So if I'm feeling a little chilly, it's actually nice to have them both on. And then you can change the, let me put it back to all. You can change the intensity level by going up to level 4 or down to 0. Now, you may know that people use red light on their face and their skin and things. I'm not sure if I've seen a benefit from that. I do use it during my morning meditation. I'll sit with it on one of my old ones where the cord is wonky. I don't know. I wouldn't say that I notice a lot of whatever. I'm over 50, it's fine. But it is good to have also the red light in your eyes. Sorry, this is probably weird for you to see red light all over me. And then this will go up in increments of 5 minutes all the way up to 30. And that's all. Whoa, and it will do that. Sorry, I should have warned you. Strobe. It will flash for some reason I am not sure of. As far as I know, there are no benefits to doing a flashing red light. But that's what I'm going to put on now and see if I can get this cramping under control. Tomorrow I have high fitness, and I'm not in one place long enough to really notice any sort of cramping. Hopefully the SI will be feeling well enough to bend down and do the burpees. And then Friday is body flow. Used to be called body flow. Now it's BodyBalance. And then this weekend I'm going to be walking both days. So that'll be the kickoff to my daily walking. And next week I'm only walking every day instead of doing classes, because I don't want to hurt myself before we leave, and I want to really acclimate to walking every day. Definitely a far cry still from walking all day, every day, but walking every day will at least be getting me in the right place. So that is my report for today, Wednesday, my physical therapy day. And I will get back at you, I don't know, probably this weekend. Hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you then. Well, friends, I made a mistake today that, of course, I didn't know was a mistake when I made it. But I have, those walking shoes that I wear, the Ultras. When I was at PT yesterday, I left my normal shoes at PT, and so I wore those shoes home. Normally I leave them in the car for when I go walking. And so they were in my garage today when I was going to high fitness. And so I was like, oh, I'll just wear these because they're super cushy and they're great. And, they're not my normal shoes, but they're better than what I normally wear to high fitness. So right out of the gate, if you watched the week where I videoed that class for you, we go side to side a lot. And so we went to the side, and the sole of the shoe is structured differently from what I'm used to. It must be narrower. And so I went to the side and stepped on the edge and tipped my ankle. And I was like, ooh, well, guess I won't do that again. And I kept going. I did class. It was fine. No problem. I came home. I took a shower. I drove to work. As you know, at work, I have a standing desk, and I put on my other pair of Ultras, which is what I'm going to be wearing to the park. And my ankle is bothering me, and I don't really notice it because I had forgotten that I had twisted it a little bit in class. And I had worn my boots, what are they called? They're like Doc Martens, like my combat boots, to go with my, this is my Green Army Man outfit that I wore to Disneyland at Disney last time. Anyway, so the shoes that went with it were my combat boots. And so I took those off and I put on my Ultras, and my ankle is bothering me. and I realized, oh no, I think I did more damage to my ankle than I realized. And so I am now sitting and I have my leg up on the desk fortunately, I have a little ice pack that I keep in the freezer here. So I'm icing my ankle and it does look a little swollen, but fortunately I have those combat boots that are a little bit tight. And I have my compression socks that I usually wear when I am standing to work here. We talked about those in another video. So I will put on the compression socks and put on the combat boots to help keep some pressure on it. But I have to go out to an appointment and I can't go home, and I don't have that CBD balm or anything like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how walking goes in this scenario. But fortunately, this is the outfit I wore, and those are the shoes that I chose, the boots today, and those are the best ones I could have had for that situation. So I will report in later, but my guess is I'm probably not going to go to my body flow class tomorrow, the last one, before I take a week off just for walking. I have no idea when I'll be able to walk again. Oh, setbacks. Dang it. Dadgummit. But hey, it's fine. It'll be fine. Whatever. So that's my report for today. High fitness check, wore new shoes, had a problem, caused an issue. So something to note for you is to never wear new shoes when you go to the parks. And I don't just mean new to walking, but also new shoes, because you really do need to break them in for a couple of weeks. So make sure you're buying your new shoes weeks in advance and walking in them regularly before you take them, and know how they perform in a walking scenario. Anyway, I'm out. I'll report back later. Well, hello. And here we are in bed, resting and elevating and icing my ankle. I did go to urgent care while I was in the same building for another appointment. I thought, let's just make sure that there's nothing going on that really needs to be tended to before this trip. And fortunately, the x-ray showed that nothing was broken. It was just a sprain. But sprains, and I've had one on this same ankle about 2 years ago, do still take a while to heal, and they still hurt in the process. So we are less than 10 days away from the trip, and that should be enough time for it to feel mostly better before we go. Am I going to get any walking training in? I don't know. So it's probably good that I've been doing what I could do so far. I am pretty sure that I'll be able to walk and not have to end up in a wheelchair. Wouldn't that be crazy? My back is fine, but I hurt my ankle. So we're just going to say no to that. Because as handy as the ECVs are, electric conveyance vehicle, I think is what it's called, they're still not ideal. And of course, they cost money that I would rather spend on other things. So we're going to shoot to have this all healed and ready to go in 10 days, less than 10 days, 9 days. Yes. So let me just show you my little arrangement here. Hello, there's me and my kitty slipper. My other leg is hanging out underneath here. And we're just doing the icing thing. And then as soon as that's been on for 10 or 15 minutes, then I'm going to switch and I'm going to put the red light pad on it, because red light is healing. But I don't know if I want the heat yet so much. So like we talked about earlier, I'm not going to put it on the 660 nanometer frequency. I'll put it on the 850 because it doesn't get as hot, or hardly hot at all. So I'll just switch those off and make sure I stay on my ibuprofen. Obviously, I'm not going to go to BodyBalance tomorrow, which makes me sad. I do love that class. And even though my ankle feels so much better with the ice, man, it was bad. After I made that last video, it got really, really bad. When I'm in pain, I make noise. I don't know about you, but there was a lot of moaning and groaning going on. And it took the ibuprofen about an hour 15 to really start making a difference. And then I was like, oh, thank goodness. Because it was like shooting pains. Oh, it was rough. Anyway, so we're just going to sit on the bed and work on the laptop and elevate and make sure we heal as fast as we can. So I'll come back at you later this week and let you know how things are going and what physically I am capable and willing to do. Anyway, that is the update. Things are okay. Could have been worse, but they're okay. Good morning. So last night went pretty well with the sleeping with the ankle. I had ibuprofen. I've been doing the 800 milligrams for the anti-inflammatory. And that's been super helpful. And I think it even helped me with my hip pain during the night. So I slept pretty good. And then this morning, I could put full weight on it when I got up, which was surprising. So it definitely isn't as bad as when I sprained it 2 years ago. We were, my dad lives in a nearby state, and we were meeting him halfway at a park for a picnic on Father's Day. And there were some swings there, and one of my kids was with me, in their 20s, and we decided to go on the swings. And I said, hey, have you ever jumped off the swings while it was going before? And they're like, yeah, no problem. I was wearing my wedge sandals. And then I was like, okay, that could be a problem. So I'm going to slow way down before I just step off. So I slowed way down and I launched off, but the surface was mulch. And I just caught in a little divot and bam, rolled my ankle. And it was so bad. It was like black and blue. It was terrible. And we were hours from home. Luckily, because of the picnic, we had ice packs in the car. And there were other people that could drive. So I put my leg up on the back of the car seat and put ice on. And unfortunately, we were going to a festival, so that would have been Sunday on Wednesday. And that's why I have those combat boots, was for that festival. And so fortunately I wore those, but it was not in any way good to walk on. And it made that a little bit rough. So this time, definitely not as bad. I didn't see any bruising this morning, and I think all the actions that I took yesterday have been helpful. But have you ever asked ChatGPT to give you suggestions for physical therapy? Well, I did. Even though I'll see my physical therapist next week, I was sitting in bed last night and I was like, I wonder what else I should be doing besides rice, rest, ice, compression, elevate. Because, urgent care, they don't give you specifics like that. They're like, yeah, just put it up, it'll be fine. So I asked ChatGPT to help me be walking ready by the trip in 9 days. And so it laid all this out. It's like, draw the alphabet with your toes and then do some ankle pumps. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I thought you might like to hang out here with me while I draw the alphabet with my feet. And we're gonna have some tea. Now this is special to me because this is the last serving I have of Disney tea. It is the unbirthday cake tea. Oh my gosh, it is delicious because it is like a cake type flavor. And these containers are so funny. Let me read it to you. It's called Birthday Cake Black Tea. Strong flavor strength. Luxury, well, this isn't the funny part. Luxury black tea with deep opening flavors of vanilla buttercream and cocoa, with colorful flower petals. Hurry up before it disappears from your cup. Okay, let me find the funny part. It's right here. It's called, can this focus on here? I don't know. How to Make Hot Tea by the Mad Hatter. Start at the beginning, and when you come to the end, stop. Use 1 tea bag per 8 ounce of freshly boiled water and steep for 3 to 4 minutes. Move down the table to get a clean cup. I love it. When I went on my last trip, I got 5 different kinds of tea, and I've been waiting to have the last serving of this until before I go on my next trip. And it seems like sitting here hanging out with you seemed like a good time to do that. So here, even look at the little tag. Can I focus on there? It even says Wonderland Tea. So I made me some, and we're going to sit here and drink it and draw the alphabet with our feet. A, B. Oh my gosh, here, let me turn it around. C, D. So that's what we're doing. It's hard to keep track of what letters I'm doing and talk at the same time other than reciting the alphabet. Sorry about that. Oh, but I did these last night, and I was very ginger about doing it, so I didn't cause any problems, and it worked out okay. And then this morning, I decided I would do my normal stretches, my morning stretches that I do in bed. I still need to show you those sometime. And they're a little bit hard on the ankle because, you know, I'm a pretty flexible person, and so I can put my legs in weird places. So I do a hip flexor stretch where I bend the whole leg back behind me so I can hit the hip flexor. X. And I was concerned about the ankle, but since I had been laying prone all night and hadn't put any pressure on it, and it was doing well healing, I guess, it was fine. The only thing that sort of bothered it is when I was doing it's kind of like a laying down pigeon or a number 4 stretch if you've ever done that. But I bring, okay, hello. So I bring my leg up like that while I'm laying down. And it only slightly bothered it then because the pressure of my arm on my foot rotated the foot in a little bit the same direction that it went over the edge of my shoe. So I just re-rotated and it was fine. And the only ouchy moment I've actually had this morning was when I was putting on my pants. I wasn't thinking because it had been feeling fine, and I went kind of up on the balls of my feet, lifted my heels up, and that movement didn't feel good. But other than that, it's been doing okay. So I already, it's also hard to drink and talk at the same time. I also did a elevation and ice on the ankle this morning too. And I put the CBD balm on the first thing this morning, as well as had the ibuprofen again. I waited till I ate something first, so it was a little while. So I'm going to keep doing that, and then when I get to the office today, I will not be standing again. I will be sitting. So it's nice to have a desk that can go up and down, isn't just one or the other, for those rare occasions when I prefer to sit for some reason. Usually it's if I'm sick or injured. I guess I'll do some ankle pumps and finish my tea. Thanks for joining me for it today. A special finale to my unbirthday cake? Hold on. Or unbirthday cake blend. I don't know if it'll focus on that hair. No. Anyway, it was lovely to have you, and I will see what's happening with walking. I can do a little bit of walking, so I'll check in with you on that this weekend. Have a beautiful day! And good morning. Today is Sunday, and there has been yet another, I'll call it a setback, because essentially it is that in regards to the Disney trip. But Thursday, the day that I sprained my ankle, my dad had a heart attack, and it was relatively mild. He knew the symptoms because he's had them before. Got to the ER. There was not even just minor damage to the heart, but they decided to do a scope of some sort, and they found that he has over 10 mostly blocked arteries in the heart. So they're scheduling a multi-bypass surgery for tomorrow on Monday. So I am driving down to Colorado, where he lives, for that procedure today. Now, the reason why this is a setback for me personally and my walking for Disneyland adventure is that I have to sit in the car for over 5 hours to get there. And sitting is really, really hard on my back. My SI joint, it's mainly my left side, some sort of muscle that's tight under the sit bone makes it really, really hard to sit. So that is going to in turn cause problems with walking. Now my ankle is doing better. It just gets a little tired after doing normal walking, but I'm still doing the RICE protocol and the CBD and all that. I have an entire bag dedicated towards stuff to use on my back and ankle today while I'm driving, and maybe the rest of this week. I don't know how this week is going to turn out. And the second part of how this affects me is I may not get to go on my trip on Saturday. So we will just have to see how everything turns out, and maybe it will be fine. The surgery will go okay. He'll do well, and I'll get to come home and go on the trip. But I'm mostly packed for the trip. I was packing for 2 trips yesterday. This one and that one. So anyway, I don't know how much walking there will be, but I know I will need to get out and for my hip while I'm driving, but also get out of the hospital and that sort of situation periodically while I'm here. So I have my walking shoes, I have all my stuff. So now that my ankle is calming down, I should start walking. So I will try and do that. I will keep you posted, and most likely I will chime in again today. But if not, thank you for joining me on this rather interesting week 11 of physical therapy for getting ready to walk Disneyland and everything that comes with it. And then I will let you know how week 12 starts tomorrow if I don't see you again. Okay, pit stop number 1. Been traveling for about an hour and 15 minutes. And that left hip, I tell you, it does not love it. My first solutions that I was using I call it the thut, where the thigh meets the butt, right where the sit bone is, was to put a Salon Paws patch. They have like the lidocaine and stuff in them in that area, and I can't tell if it helped. It might be helping a little bit, but the SI joint not living things. And then I had ice on my ankle. What a trip, huh? So for this time, this little segment, I'm going to try the, let me show you, the TENS unit. So this is a portable TENS unit. It's what you can buy from the physical therapist. I don't know how well you'll be able to see what's going on here, but it has different settings that you can scroll through for different parts of the body. I really don't know what effect it has, but I have hip chosen. I put the 4 little pad things around the left hip and SI joint, and then there's 2 for each channel. So now that it's on, I'm going to start turning up the intensity. You can see the number in the top right there is changing. Well, there it is. You can feel it tingle a little bit, and depending on the part of your body, you can feel the sensation a little bit more. So I'm going to turn it up to where I can feel it, because the point is to distract from the pain. Oops, turn my car back on. And then I'm going to do the other side. Oh, feel that one. That's so funny how different parts of the body are more sensitive than others. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave it. And then you can change the time. I don't remember how. How do I do it? I could look at the directions. What does this do? Nope. There's now the time. Okay, but now it's on the wrong setting. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Slowly. One more. Okay, great. Now, how did it go up to 60? It didn't. Oh my gosh. I guess, okay, well, I guess I'm leaving it at 30. Woo! Okay, that's good. And then I've got the red light already wrapped around my ankle. Got my Crocs on because I can't wear a normal shoe with that ankle brace. But I'll have to turn the car back on. 1 second. Okay, so now we got some power to the red light pad. I'm going to turn it on for 30 minutes, and both of those will be going for half an hour. So there we go. That'll be phase 2 of body care and touring traveling. Oi! All right, continuing on. Well, here we are, back at the original scene of the crime. My first ankle sprain was on those swings right over there. Two years ago, coming to visit my dad for a different reason. This is where we stopped to have that picnic with him. So I thought it seemed appropriate to ice my ankle while I stopped here for a little pit stop, a little snack, a little elevation, which I can't get in the car. So the TENS unit seemed helpful for the SI joint. And if you didn't know, it stands for transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation. And it kind of, I guess, disrupts the pain signals, which it was helpful. Although I think the stickiness on my pads is waning, because if I would move my leg a certain way, I would feel the sensation go down my leg, which was interesting. I'd be like, what happened? And if you've never had a TENS unit on before, it's not like you're being shocked. It's kind of a little prickly feeling. Not like pins and needles, when your arm falls asleep or something, but a different sensation. So it's not painful. It's just a different sensation, which I think is kind of the point. Anyway, it was strange to feel it moving when the units, the pads were in the same place. So I'm using my mic this time because this is a park that's on a very busy street and it is extremely noisy. But my golly, it sure is pretty. I mean, look at the leaves falling. What a gorgeous time to drive right here. So pretty. Love it. So, hello. I guess I will have my snack and keep icing the old ankle and head on to see my dad. All right, we're getting ready to leave the park for segment number 3. Here's what I'm doing this time. I'm putting the TENS unit around, if you will, the thud. So, because that is just the biggest problem with sitting. And then the next problem with sitting is the SI joint. So I'm going to do the red light pad on it. But first, I told you I brought everything. Massage gun. I'm going to do a little massage around there because it feels good. Do you have a massage gun? If not, invest in one because it's super helpful. Hold on. Yeah. Whoop. There's people walking by like, what's she doing in there? You don't want to know, really. Too many things. Anyway, gonna finish this, gonna put on the red light pad, start up the TENS unit, and carry on for the next leg of the journey. See you again. This drive is my favorite drive on the entire planet. I love the way it looks. I love the way that it feels energetically. I don't know what it is, but I love how open and how far you can see. It's just a delightful experience for me driving through here, and it kind of always has been. I used to say that it would feed my soul, and I think it's probably about as accurate as you can be. So this is my last pit stop before I get to the hospital. I really liked putting the TENS unit around the sit bone and the SI joint. I think that and the red light on the SI joints, best combination yet. So I did have one of the, I don't know what they're called, the sticky things that have the current, a little bit too far on my leg the first time because I was trying to get around the Salon Paws lidocaine patch. I don't know if that's an English word or maybe it's French and it's a Salon Pas. Either way, those patches, I had that right on the sit bone, and so the TENS unit was around it, and that was oddly distracting, and I really wanted it to be somewhere else. So the 5 hours of the patch has expired, and I don't even know if it was super effective or not. So I took the opportunity in the bathroom to remove that and throw it away and reapply the TENS site that was a little too far away onto that sit bone. So I have turned it back on. Seems pretty good. Red light on the back. I put some ice around my ankle again. And we're setting off for the final leg. Whew. So, who knew that I should have been working on sitting preparation in addition to walking this whole time at PT? Anyway, this is where we're at. We're gonna keep going, and I'll check in with you again. Okay, so when I got to the hospital, my brother was already waiting for me, so I didn't have time to close out this video for you. But Dad is in good spirits, and it seems like things should go well tomorrow according to the doctors. There's nothing else I'm doing here for myself in week 11, just in the hotel room. Gonna do my heating pad, and I've got my red light pad here, which is what I normally do while I'm getting ready for bed. Heat up all the things. So thanks for joining me for this really interesting week 11 of physical therapy, getting ready to walk Disneyland. And hopefully things in your world are a little bit more calm, but if not, hang in there. We'll get through it together. I will check in with you tomorrow, and we'll start week 12 and getting ready to walk Disneyland. Check the Ready to Walk Disneyland playlist for other episodes, or choose an in-park or at-home adventure.